Hello, everyone. Cindy Bettino, Transformational Healing. I'm a life coach, energy worker, and happiness expert. And thank you for joining me for a cup of happiness. Nectar of the gods. Can't start a day without it. I mean, I can, but who'd want to, right? Anyway, today's cup of happiness is all about damn disappointment. Damn. Disappointment sucks. Disappointment is the worst. We don't like being disappointed, and we don't like disappointing others. I mean, it came from when we were little kids, right? Don't you disappoint me. You bring in that good report card. You know what? I did it to my children too. So kids, I'm sorry. Yeah, it can be the worst thing. We behave our worst as human beings when we feel grief or feel disappointment. We can behave pretty darn badly when we're disappointed and when we're grieving. Really poorly. So, how do we do it better? That becomes the question, right? A lot of times we don't even realize it's disappointment that is driving how we're behaving or reacting in the moment. This beautiful skill that I've been, talking about during a cup of happiness is witnessing ourselves. So looking at ourselves from outside of ourselves with curiosity, not judgment. So why did I react that way? Why? What am I feeling? What am I feeling in my body? What's going on? Is this how I want to show up? This is how I want to treat my spouse. Is this? So a lot of times we get disappointed when we ask someone, to do something for us and they say no. That's a hard one. And especially when it's our spouse or our partner or our beloved. We ask them to, clean the dishes or take us shopping or take us on a romantic date or whatever. And that romantic date turns into, pre-COVID, two tickets to a basketball game and you hate basketball. Right? Disappointment. And, the truth is that we can request from our partners. We can't demand from our partners, which means we have to deal with that thing called disappointment. Because we learned very young that demanding of people was not societally acceptable and was rude. You just don't do it. So we've learned as the amazing, brilliant human beings and adult beings that we are, that we can couch our demands to sound like requests. Would you please take me on a romantic date? But what you're saying is, take me on a romantic date that I think is romantic. And if you do it wrong, or if you say no, I'm going to punish you. So the litmus test for a request, which is we want a happy, healthy relationship, right? We have to learn how to request of our partners. Request. And the litmus test for a request is that whoever you're asking to do something, right, that they have the right to say no. And remember, no doesn't have to be the words N-O, but they say no without any negative repercussions coming their way. So no punishment. Sounds kind of easy, but it's really hard. So witnessing yourself when you ask someone to do something and they say no, what do? Do you get angry? Do you try to convince them? Do you whine? Do you pout? Do you shut down and shut out? Do you leave physically? What do you do? You follow them around the house until they agree to do it, right? Whatever you're asking of them. How do you punish? Because you do. So the problem with the request is that then we have to deal with that disappointment. The disappointment of the no coming our way, or the disappointment of the client firing us or not hiring us, or the disappointment that our spouse didn't show up the way we wanted them to show up. How can we deal with our disappointment in a healthier way? Because it's our disappointment. It's not theirs. They didn't make me disappointed. I'm disappointed because I requested and I got the no. But we all want the right to say no, don't we? I mean, if someone asks you to do something, you want to be able to say no. You don't want to have to because they're your spouse or they're your beloved, so I have to do everything they ask me to do. That's not okay. That sounds more like being in a gilded cage than being in a happy, healthy partnership. So what do we do? How do we deal with our disappointment? How do we lick our wound, right? Without punishing the other person, and then figure out another way. Because the truth is, what it all boils down to, it's our job to get our needs met. It's our job to get our needs met. It's so much easier to ask someone else to do it. Like, hey, honey, I know that you've worked all day and I've been at home, but, would you mind on your way home picking up that da-da-da-da-da? It's easier to ask them to pick up whatever it is than for you to go out and get it yourself. You're sitting on the couch. Hey, honey, would you get me some? It's easier. But they have the right to say no because you have the right to say no. So I can tell you how I deal with my disappointment in a healthier way. Well, first, let me just be honest and totally vulnerable. I used to try to convince my spouse or my beloved or my partner to think the way I think because I'm so passionate. I used to try to convince them that what I was wanting was important, necessary, beneficial. They had to. And if convincing didn't work, I would pout, I would whine. Sometimes I'd cry. It's pretty dramatic. Yeah. I didn't do the follow around thing. At least I don't think I did. I didn't really do the shut out thing because I just use my words so much, right? But once I realized what was going on, what I was doing, and that it was my disappointment and it was my job to fill my needs, then I had to find a way to deal with my disappointment in a healthy way. So I can tell you that when I am disappointed, I will go to a space where that person cannot hear me, see me, whatever. I will lick my wounds. I'll have a pity party. Me, they don't love me, they don't like me. Right? And I do. I have a pity party. It's okay. It's okay to have a pity party. It's okay to be disappointed and to name your disappointment. It's okay to be sad because someone said no. They don't want to come play with me. It's okay. It's okay to be disappointed. And then I pause and I go, okay. So if I really want this to happen, whatever this is, how am I going to make it happen? Is it that important? Do I have to make it happen? Can I do something different instead? What? Because I know that I'm smart and I'm intelligent. And I said that, look, I'm smart and intelligent. And I'm creative. And I'm a survivor. And I'm really good at finding ways to make something happen if I want it to happen. It's just more work for me if I have to do it. Right? damn, that disappointment. It's hard. So I had a couple once that I was working with, and I was explaining that, it's our job to fill our needs, and, your partner is not there solely to fill your needs. Ooh. The wife got very upset with me. In fact, she started yelling at me and telling me that why would she have a spouse if he wasn't there to fill her needs? She was really angry. Yeah. And then more recently, I had a couple, again, who were having a really difficult time with what their expectations were of their partner and why it wasn't okay to demand and give ultimatums of their partner for what they wanted. And I know that it can be a difficult concept to wrap your head around. Like, if I want something the way I want it, and I ask my partner, who is my beloved, who is there to be a partner with me, why don't they make it happen for me? It's a good question, right? But in understanding that it's your job to fill your needs, and there are going to be times where your partner cannot help you, is not available to help you. There are going to be those times. And I think that that is probably why couples who lose a child, which I can't even begin to process, have such a high divorce rate. Because you have two people that are grieving at the same time that it's most important that they support each other in their grief, but they can't because they're both grieving in their own way. Now, that's an extreme example. But there's also, if your tire blows on the highway and your partner is working and can't get away from work, they can't just drop everything and run and help you. You'd be disappointed. There are times where our partners cannot help us get our needs met. And for those of you that are having difficulty with this concept, the concept of request versus demand, the concept of dealing with our own disappointment, the concept of not punishing our partner for not meeting our needs, I would ask you to take a deep breath. And if your partner is consistently saying no to you when you ask for them to help them fill your needs, then we're having a completely different conversation, right? It's not the same. And one thing that I found, and it seems a bit counterintuitive, that when we take the demand off the ask, and when people feel free to say no without being punished, that they're far more likely to say yes. It's true. So I would ask you to start witnessing yourself from outside of yourself. Do you request or do you demand? And then what do you do with your disappointment? And how can you do it in a healthier way? Yeah. Because if you want happy, healthy relationship, you got to deal with that damn disappointment. Oh, it's not easy. But you got this. You can do it. I believe in you. Have a great week.